Hey guys, this is the branch vlog for 0.2.0.2. This one. I've just finished it this morning, about 20 minutes ago, so I thought I'd just do the branch now. Quite a big one. Bit of background. Previously, I'd worked on a lighting version 2, which created like light switches which could interact with like point lights, spotlights, rectangle lights. This branch turns those spotlights, rectangle lights, and point lights into their own blueprints and like masters, and then create children of those masters, and then they're all got a shared relatable functionality. So I'll just go through what's going on top to bottom. So the first three, I'll just grab them up through here. Here we go. So we've got the three masters. So firstly, the master point light and the master spotlight are identical, except from one's point and one's a spot there. So anything where it says point light, that's not spotlight. I created a master under the premise that I want to create functionality like light flickering, changing effects, chained effects. I talked about in the previous branch how in the movies like you could get a hallway of lights and they kind of stagger, go off like each time I do that noise it's like a light's turned off and you're trying to outrun all the lights turning off behind you, stuff like that. This allows me that functionality without having to do something weird like with like ad hoc lights. So sorry, one sec. I'm back. So this is the purpose of the masters. I will go into more detail on each bit when I get to each one of these points, but this is a point light master, and then there's a spotlight master, identical in every way, like I said, except from its spot instead of point, and maybe I've knocked it, like left or right a little bit, because I made some changes and I had to kind of update one. The rectangle master light is much more straightforward. It is just a rectangle light with default settings put in. From that, let's go on this one. So ambient light. Ambient light is a child, if you look to the top right, is a child of the point light, and there is a sprite, but it's hidden. Well, it's not hidden. I've just done no sprite at the moment because it's an ambient light. The purpose of the ambient light is where you have no window to get the exterior light from space and you have no lights turned on. Normally it's pitch black, like you cannot see anything, like blind black, not dark room black where your eyes are climatized, you can see nothing. So the ambient, I've tweaked it to a degree where it looks how your eyes would look if, let's say, you were going into a really dark room. You'd still be able to pick up something, wouldn't you? Your eyes would adjust. So that's what the ambient light's purpose is. The exterior light, that is just a complete, like, it's a child of the master Rect light, but it's just snapped off. The main purpose being, if I want to tweak these variables, it then doesn't change the master. There's nothing else. There's nothing else to that one. Wall light 1, A, B, and C. So A and C are from the point light master. B is from the spotlight. So if we just get them up. So A has a few functionality bits I'll go into in a bit of detail when they get to that stage. it replaces the lights you would have seen like that, which were bedroom lights. Usually bedroom and hallway lights is type A. So that's type A. Type B. See, I'm trying to do it in order so I don't freak people out with OCD. I even ordered them on there. Tried to bundle them together so people wouldn't crack up. Type B is a spotlight. If I just one sec. There you go. It's that bright. So you would have seen them in the kitchen. You would have seen them in a couple of other places. So that is type B. Type C, you've probably not seen this at all except from a little icon that pops up around the top right to the left of the health bars. It was a placeholder. It's like a ring light thing. So it's a point light again. I'm putting these in the bathrooms. We have upgrade desk light BP to child. Yes, so originally desk light was its own thing. One sec again. I have to keep clearing my throat today. Originally it was its own thing. Now it is a child of the master spotlight. You will see there, and it's got a spotlight fused into it. So anyway, you saw a desk light has now been replaced with this. Nice and straightforward. Upgrade light switch to version 2. So yes, version 1, it searched for like point lights and spotlights and rectangle lights. Well, you didn't search for it, you bundled them in. That's version 1. Version 2 searches for the masters, and you see because wall light type A is a child of the point light, I can use the master point light as its reference, and I can just bundle anything that's a child of the master point light or the master point light itself in this variable array, meaning that I don't need to have like point light A variable array, point light B variable array, like I don't need to do one for each instance of it. It just needs to be related to the master point to go into point, master spot to go into spot, master rect to go into rect. So like I always forget what it is. Is it abstraction or something? Inheritance? It's not inheritance, is it? Well, I think it's abstraction for like object oriented programming. So that's the first difference. It's quite a big change here. I will go through the whole switch actually, and then we'll just reference what I've done. So firstly, let's start at the beginning. So you initialize the switch. Is it on? Do the on sprite, which that's in version 1 as well. So on. So if you look there where the mouse is, the button's down. Off, buttons up. So that's the initialize. Then initialize the lights. This is where it gets wacky. It's going to need like a simplicity pass. So initialize the lights. That FOFO type is full off, full on type. And what I mean by that is, if we take this for example, right now, these are all off. The light switch is off. So if I play it, it's off with the shadows coming in through the light. If I turn it on, the light switch is on, forces the lights to come on just like you would do if you wired it up. And you've got on, off, on, off, on, off. What the full off, full on functionality does is, firstly, let me show you it not working. So I've turned on that middle light one, haven't I? Let's turn the rest off. Doesn't work because you see off takes control, the switch is the master. Switch overrides. Meanwhile, if I put the full off, full on, the switch does not override, which is one thing, which allows you to do a disparate light setup, but also I turn it on, they're now separate. You see, like something's broken. Another fancy feature is if you have the full on, full off. I'll show you. I'll show it later. I'll show you when we get to it. So that's the purpose of the full on, full off. It also makes sure that the rectangle, or in quotes, space shadows coming through the window don't kick back in when you toggle on and off, because technically you're not toggling on off with full off, full on. You're almost toggling this on, these others two on. The reason why it's full off, full on is the mindset that I've been thinking about whether I need to change the name now, because it was originally slightly something else. The purpose is it's like everything's been instantized. So the middle one is on, the left and right are off. So you switch it, and everything is the opposite. So anything that's on is off, anything that's off is on, and then anything that's off is on, anything that is on is off. It's like a full blanket thing, rather than it being overruled, things like that. Probably will change the name, but for now it serves its purpose. It's just like a novelty thing. So that is whether it's full on, full off. If it's not full on, full off, so all the lights just take their inheritance of on or off from the light switch, and you saw they're either all off, they're all on. Then is the light switch on? Then go through each one of the point light array and turn them on in terms of in the master point lights on, because obviously lights can be on and switches can be on, but they don't. That on is separate. It's its own personal on, and then initialize lights. If it's not on, if the switch is not on, then turn all the lights off, initialize the lights, and then after you've completed it, or if let's say the point light array, blueprint array is empty, then go to the spotlight and do the same thing for the spotlights, and then after you've done the spotlights, then go through the toggle of exterior lights. The exterior lights, if the rectangle light, so the space light, is not empty, true, and full on, full off is false, so they all just, they all work in unison. They're either all off or they're all on. The more I say it, the more I think I definitely need to change the name. But yeah, if there's not that individual one that's been turned on or off, then go through each one of the point lights and check that it's visible. If any are visible, turn off the space shadows, like the window shadows, the rectangular light shadows. Then same process, go through all the spotlight, and if any are visible, turn off the shadows. If all are not visible, then turn the shadows on, and this gives this illusion. So like you see, there's no shadows from the space, and then the shadows, no shadows, shadows. Yep. And then if it is true, then just turn the shadows to off, because you see if one light's on and then you switch it and then that light goes off and the other go on, there's always going to be a light, at least one light on, so there should never be rectangular shadows, space shadows, and that's the logic behind that function. So let's jump out of here. Initialize lights, again, there's initialize lights for the switch, and then there's initialize lights for the actual lights. I will delve into that in a second, or should I do it now? Actually, let's go into it. So we've initialized the lights on the switch, and then we've done that, we turn them on and off, and then we've run initialized lights on the masters. So then if this light is on, which you saw, it either gets turned on or turned off. If it's on, then make it visible. Otherwise make it invisible. Make the light visible or invisible. I will add the sprite is still there, just the light is invisible. Rather than, well, it'll make sense in a minute when I talk about like the detach functionality. So, sorry, one. So let's take one step back. Initialize switch, initialize lights, good. Overlap, usual thing, same as version 1. And then we have toggle lights on and off. Toggle lights, similar to initialize lights, except from, we've got the usual thing where toggle light, that's the animation. That's like, the sprite going, switch is going up, down. If it's not empty, this time, instead of saying turn it to true, turn it to on, true, false, we're actually looking at the detach boolean for each individual point light and spotlight. And if the detach is false, then run toggle lights. So if it's on, turn it off. If it's off, turn it on. And then again, goes into initialize lights. So let's go one step back again. If it is detached, do nothing. And then after that, same process, exterior light, exterior shadow lights we already saw. Do I have a thing? I do have an element to discuss the detach. I will discuss it now. So this is where the fun stuff kicks in. Detach. So what does that mean? Let's go to the master event. If I press backspace and I am within the collision range of a light, I know this is like, ignore the sprite, just whatever sprite it is inside that collision range, toggle detach lights. Detach lights is, if it is detached, then reattach it. If it isn't attached, so detach false, then detach it. Then if the light is on, this is important, if the light is on true, initialize detach lights. And then similar to initialize lights, but a bit different, where detached is true, make the point light invisible or the spotlight in the spotlights version. And if detach is false, then make it visible. And this sounds like gobbledygook, right? The best way to explain it, I'll explain it in plain English and then I will show you. So you turn on your living room light, you've got light bulbs in, you unscrew a light bulb while the light is turned on. You rescrew the light bulb in, the light comes back on. You don't need to go back to the light switch and do on off to run that functionality again. Or let's say you go into the living room and your light is off. You then take out a light bulb, you turn the switch on, and then you turn it off. Nothing happens because there's no light bulb. You put the light bulb back in, you turn the switch on, voila, it's got light, the light bulb there. It's that logic. I've coded that logic, so like real life light switch circuit logic. So I will now show you what I mean. I'm going to have to pick a room where I can actually reach the light bulb. So if we go guide post, okay. So we've got on, off, on, off. You see, you can just about make things out. That's the ambient light around like here, hidden. So light on. We've taken the light bulb out of that one, haven't we? Put the light bulb back in. light back on, take it out, light off, turn it on and off, because the left light is detached, you see, so it's being taken, it's being ignored from the array of light switch to turn on and off. Let's pop it back in. Behaves as you expect. Go like that. See, so detach, attach, detach, attach, nothing, detach, just like real life. And oh, I was cracking up. I was cracking up. I nearly got it. It took a while to get it perfect, and then I functionized it. I collapsed it to a function. So that is the detach logic. Like I said before, really useful if, say, you can't get to a light switch and the enemies are going to work on. There'll be some that use sight, some that use sound, some that use both, some that use touch. Think like The Last of Us when the cordyceps, like the type 3 and the type 2s were like completely deaf, completely blind, but they had really good hearing. So something a bit like that, but not as like, for example, there's some infected which they've clearly had ear damage, so they've got bandage and like blood coming out of their ears and bandage over their ears, so they can't hear very well. So then those will be the ones that use sight, and that means that, let's say you're in a room where it's light, the hospital room, there's a bunch of, let's say there's 5 of them, you cannot get past them, they're definitely going to spot you. You can climb up, detach the light bulb, and then you can hide in the darkness. Let's ignore that. Not the deaf ones. Let's say the blind ones. You detach the light. No, the deaf. Well, my brain's not working now. The deaf ones, yes, because then you can run by them and you can detach the light bulb, and then they can't see you. They already can't hear you, and it's using shadows and darkness to your advantage. That is the purpose of detach, and also because it kind of looks cool. I will talk about the flicker logic in a bit. Upgrade intensity switch to version 2. So very simple. Kind of felt like I could have just kept it, but I've done version 2 as I've done version 2 with the light switch. Only difference, it's now a master rect light rather than a rect light. So now it just goes from the master blueprint. That's the only difference. Functionality. So if it's manually turned off, it gets excluded from the array. Exactly what I just talked about, the detach functionality. The full on, full off functionality. Yep, talked about that. We've talked about the exterior shadows being toggleable. Flicker effect. Right, okay. Let's pick, my bedroom. Okay, so couple of things. Works well with the full on, full off, gives us different sort of combination. So let's turn it to flicker, but you see, one sec, because it's flicker, it's off, but that's on. Okay, so I'll show you it firstly with it like that. So this is the flicker. I don't normally show the blueprint first. It's on a random flicker, like I'm talking completely random. It could, I don't know what the range is. I've given it a min-max clamp, like that. We turn it off, but you see there's like a delay there. See, it's like there's a little pause and then it comes on. I wanted to do that. Well, it was useful. It appeared through happenstance, and I thought that's really cool. It's like that slight delay, and then it turns on, and you think, well, shouldn't all these lights be off? But I think it goes well with, like, the breakdown of the wiring, like something's clearly up with it, like that. And then that is with full on, full off, turned off, and light is on. Let's turn them all off. Flicker doesn't work. then it flickers, and then it comes on, it takes over control, and you think, so what is up with this? And let's do full on, full off, light on and flicker. Pretty much the same. I don't think full on, full off interacts with it with that combination. But you see, like now I've got that flicker logic. You might think, oh Nick, that doesn't look too great. It's like, oh, what's the big deal about that? Well, let's put them all on flicker. See how that looks. Now you'd be worried, wouldn't you? Need to put some more love into I need to do another pass on the guns. But that is the flicker logic. All the points and the spots have it. So you see I've got the very handy abstraction like child ability where each one can individually be detached, turn to flicker and things like that. And I might have it where if you shoot the light it might flicker rather than just turn off. So that's the flicker logic. Upgrading the light switch and system. So we've already talked about the blueprints. That is a version 2. You see here, when it comes into the level, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to pick, these are the master points, they're the master spots, and these are the master rect. So as I said, because they are children of them, I can use their children rather than having to dump in a master, like a parent asset, and use the parent and put parent. So that's that. These lights, again, we've already gone through the lights, haven't we? Actually, you don't need to turn these on because that takes control, that takes precedence. So that's that. Hallway. Okay, so it's just hallway system. It's not hallway and light. I know this is a bit of a long one, but it's quite a deep dive. So go. Started me in a different place. But you see, all the lights have been changed. There's type Bs for where the billboards for like there. Flickering light. Then go like that. See, the nav mesh doesn't always work. This is where the next branch is the nav mesh. Right, and then we've got the stairs up, stairs down. That's the hallway. Hallway lower. Let's just play it wherever. It doesn't pick a main start. So you see, lights again. It does make a tangible difference, and I can definitely give these lights a little bit more love. I think there's like a length option, and because it's a point light, but technically that is like it's like a tube light, isn't it? Really, I should have the light length go across the tube rather than just be in the middle. So there's still a little bit of work to do, like another pass. This is how it looks with the point light, type A and type B. Let's just check that now because we're curious. So we've got source length. See what source length does. There's no source width. There is radius, but no, that's wrong. Wonder if, can you rotate a light bulb? You can. Okay, so what I'll do, minus 90, length 30 and 20, radius 2. but then this is the master. So let's imagine how the sprite's in. Let's change it and then not save it. Like there, you see, and that's how you do it. There you go. It's on the fly. Will not change it yet, but that's that. So that's what I'm going to. I've saved it, but I've already reverted it, so it should be okay. That's what I'm going to do with these tube lights. I know that's not the name, like luminescent lights or whatever they're called. So that's lower, upper, similar process. Load it up just so you see it, like that, like you'd expect. Go down here, and then we go down this one, There we go. Barry's bedroom. So I will load them up just so you can see them all. Again, similar to the other one. Barry's bedroom. We've already seen the guard post. Hide in the dark. Yes, functionality relates to excluding it from that when I detach it, excluding it from the array on the switch. Also, well, not really excluding, more like ignoring it from the array. And then, yeah, that serves that purpose. Kitchen. Kitchen is the wall type B. Again, there's an ambient light here, which means you can kind of just see. What I do need to do is actually, I will do it now. I've just discovered it. Let me show you. Yes, it's ambient light, but it's supposed to be your eyes. It was not supposed to cast shadows. Like, what's casting the shadow? It's ambient light. There you go. There you go. That's how it was before I upgraded it. Okay, that's that. Jackie's bedroom, Jackie's bathroom. So just quickly, Jackie's bedroom. You see that's been upgraded as well. The desk lamp is the actual blueprint now, rather than just being a sprite and then a spotlight stuck next to it. The bathroom. So type C lights. Need to tweak it a little bit on the shadows. Maybe it's a bit too bright. Yeah, that's the bathroom. What else do we have? Protagonist bathroom. Very similar. Again, very similar process. Might knock that down. There we go. That's that. We have storeroom. We haven't seen the storeroom yet. Storeroom again has an ambient light. Then it's got a type A light with things like that. Okay. We have Sarah's bedroom. So we have lights on, then we have the space lights coming through. Lower domes. So we've got the shutters like we had before. Then we've got these bedroom lights we can turn on. Bedroom lights are separate to the light switches. Almost like the concept that they're like LEDs. that's that. And then upper is very similar. Upper left being set up the same. Upper right. Last thing I was doing was lining up the switches, the shutter and the light, just so it looks the same with the other DOMs. That's that. Update sprite, level sprites to no longer natively have them. Yes, the hallway and the protagonist's bedroom and Jackie's bedroom and Barry's bedroom all had those. Oh, let's get it. You see that sprite there? Had that sprite put into the diffuse texture, so into this texture. Now it's not. I cut them out, updated it, created a suite of lights. So yes, there we go. That's the suite so far, and like a couple of switches. That's that. Wrong sequence door exit. Okay, so when I was in the middle of creating the stairs up, stairs down sequence, I did it from. I loaded up the door exit and then tweaked it. Sequences are really faffy because there's a level and then there's sequences, and they are two disparate things that you can connect to each other. So a sequence would be like a camera video, and the level is the whatever level. So I just between that there was some confusion and I overlapped, and I put the wrong sequence. I broke the door exit sequence, making the other sequences. So you see what I mean. So this is door exit. See, it looks a little bit different now. It kind of almost comes in quicker. So it will need some love. I think I'll just put the camera a little bit closer on its path on the exit, because it kind of looks like he's trying to run out, but he's walking in. Yeah, maybe just a couple of steps further forward on the exit, but that's something for me to do. And that is, where are we? I hate it when it does that. There'll be something from an old level in here somewhere that's doing that, because they're all based on like an old level. Okay, so that's everything. Next, I'm looking at the nav mesh. So you saw the zombies didn't move. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So I'll just have to overlay one. So this should come up green if it would work, but it's not coming up green. So I just need to put some love into it. I might just need to do like a build all, and then it'll do like the paths. Might do it. We'll see, but I'll give it some more love. And we talked about it before. Armor. The missing Sarah's bathroom, missing communal bathroom, hand drawn, normal maps. And I think that is it. Yeah, thank you for your time. It's a really long one, but as you can see, in comparison, we haven't done a really big one with lots of detail since, I suppose, Enemies Indoors was the last one that was huge. The rest of it was just lots of bits and pieces cut up. I'll go away and tweak those things I mentioned. And yeah, thank you, and I'll see you in a bit.